Barcelona's biggest game of the season, and of course, both starting fullbacks will not be available. Now, the whole talking point going into the second leg, also the first leg, but especially the second leg, is who would be available for both teams. Because, of course, on last week, both Lewandowski and Balde were not available. For Inter, they had Lautaro Martinez get injured during the game, and they also had Pavard not available for that game. So going into the second leg, the whole talking point was who would be available for the next leg. Now, for Barcelona's standpoint, it was Balde who was supposed to be the player that was guaranteed to be available, and they were expecting him to start. But now all of a sudden, his recovery is not going well. So as we can see here, they had number 2 Kubarsi, and it goes straight number 4 Araujo. So Balde is not available for this game, and then also, of course, Kounde is not available for this game. So both starting fullbacks for Barcelona will be out, and that's a huge thing for this game because Inter's attack, once they have the ball into the number 9 like Thuram, they play wide. They use their attacking fullbacks and they play wide. That's exactly how Denzel Dumfries had a field day in the first leg. He had 3 GA after being injured for 2 months because Balde was not there. Now it's going to be Balde not there and Kounde not there. But the good thing is that Lewandowski somehow, who was more shaky than Balde to be available for this game, who was more doubtful for this game, is available. Now he's probably not going to start. I'm pretty sure he's still going to go with Ferran Torres because Lewandowski doesn't want to be risked for another relapse of the injury. But he'll be available, as we can see, he's here in the squad, and of course on the picture, and he will be available off the bench. He could be absolutely monstrous. Now Inter somehow, I don't know what they've been doing, but they've had a new player returning from an injury every 3 hours. Like every 3 hours, you've heard reports. Lautaro's going to be available. Pavard's going to be available. They have a new player from an injury every 3 hours. But according to Sky Sports, this is their predicted lineup for tomorrow. So they're going to have Summer. B6 still going to be there because Pavard apparently in the training today, he was still feeling pain in his ankle, so he might not be available for tomorrow. Acerbi, Bastoni, of course, the same midfield as the first game. Thuram still there, of course. And then they're expecting Lautaro to start somehow. I'm not sure how he's recovered in 6 days' time with the injury that he did walk off with in the first leg, but he's managed to make it happen. I'm not sure what they've done, but they've made it happen. So Lautaro supposedly back for Inter. Pavard, possibly not. We don't know yet about him. But the point is that it's going to be a difficult game, this one, for both teams, of course. But Barca going away at the San Siro with both fullbacks out, there's going to be some big decisions to be made for Hansi Flick. And just about now, I think they just finished, if not, are still continuing the press conference. Yes. So Hansi Flick was talking about, the game in general. He was talking about the injuries, and he said about Lewandowski here, as we can see. When we need Lewandowski, maybe he can come in. So that means, of course, Ferran Torres will probably be starting this game tomorrow. And then, of course, he was talking about how, yes, there's been injuries. It wasn't quoted here by Barca's main account, but he talked about how the team has to do a lot of rotations in the defense. And he was talking about how we could possibly see Eric Garcia playing right back, and we could possibly see Araujo playing center back. Now, in that first leg, what happened? Yes, Inter scored the first goal. That was nice. But the other 2 goals were corner situations. Now, if you look at the SofaScore here, look at this team. Inter have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minimum. And then if Arnautovic plays, 6 players over 6'1". What does Barca have? Just the goalkeeper and Araujo. Ferran Torres is 6'1", and Lewandowski's on the bench. So Barca does not compare height-wise whatsoever to this Inter team, and that's exactly the reason why they conceded 2 corner goals. Now, yes, they could have been defended better. They should have been defended better. But the point is that Barca conceded corner goals due to the height disadvantage, and this has to be rectified for this leg because it cannot happen again. I'm not sure how Inter's going to go into this game. Maybe they go into it the same exact way they did in the first leg. But of course, them being home now is a different environment, it's a different situation. We don't know how they will go into this game. But this is basically the projected lineup for Barca. Everyone's expecting this to happen for Barca. They're expecting Araujo, Kubarsi, Inigo at left back. That's going to be an interesting thing to see because we don't know now how Hansi Flick will tell him to play. Will he tell him to be more reserved? Will he tell him to try and fill in that Balde role and try to push up a little bit? We don't know. But Inigo Martinez has to watch Denzel Dumfries on that side. And of course, Araujo's going to have to be extremely tight to Thuram. The same thing to whoever the other striker is. It could be Lautaro, it could be Arautovic, it could be Taremi. We don't know who it is. But he has to be very tight to them. Same with Kubarsi, because those players are very good with their hold-up play. And when they find the pass to Barella or Çalhanoğlu, and then they find the wide pass, that's when trouble happens, especially with this high line. So, the specific things I want from tomorrow's game is Daniel Olmo to impose himself. He hasn't really done that in the big games recently, especially against Inter and Madrid. He hasn't played completely woefully, but he has definitely by no means imposed himself. He hasn't. He just hasn't. And if he does impose himself, he'll be a very, very important player to find in the middle of the pitch, because when he does impose himself, he is unstoppable. Players cannot stop him getting around them, and he creates stuff. He takes shots. He knows what he's doing. He just has to impose himself, and hopefully does that tomorrow. Rafinha has to have a better game. Of course, he's gonna have less help now with possibly Inigo Martinez playing left back. So we're gonna have to see now how Rafinha can handle it. Will he be told to play a bit more wide, or will he be told to just keep the same role and then have him come back deeper defensively on the left side? We don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Flick does. And then, of course, when it comes to Inter side of things, their midfield is strong. Of course, Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu, Barella, they're very strong. Di Marco and Dumfries, the wider players, and of course, their defensive line. Now, Barcelona, for the goals that they scored, the 3 goals that they scored, except the second goal, they needed brilliance from individual players. They needed that Rafinha shot to be insane for the 3rd goal, and that still ended up being an own goal. They needed Yamal to get past literally 4 or 5 players and score. And then, of course, the second goal was just a great team play goal. But the point is that Barca have to find the holes in Inter's defense, because there's not many, and they have to be efficient. Take good shots. If you're outside the box, don't look for a pass when there's 40 people in front of you. Try to find a space to take a shot and take it. At the very least, a deflection will happen. Maybe you get a rebound, a corner, something will happen, but more shots need to be taken. I've seen Pedri doing it a bit more recently. Hopefully, Olmo can do it, and hopefully, De Jong does that as well. As we can see here with the team news, of course, Kounde is out. It's a shame. Casado is still out. Torres doubtful, but he was probably not going to play anyways. Bernal is still out for the season, of course. And then, of course, Balde is still out. On Inter side of things, Lautaro Martinez is doubtful, but he's probably going to start. And then, of course, Pavard is doubtful, but we don't know how he's gonna look like with him yet. He might start. He might not even be available. The point is that Barca got to get the job done. San Siro is a serious home field advantage for Inter. It's a no-joke stadium. Their fans are electric. I know Barca's going to have their own set of fans going their way, but most of the game they'll be shut out noise-wise by Inter's fans. And listen, they've got to have a great game tomorrow, because this is the most important game of the season, like I said in the start of the video, and get the job done. They've won the Copa del Rey. They won the Super Cup in January. They're leading La Liga now with a Clásico coming up on Saturday. They're leading La Liga by 4 points. UCL is a 3rd trophy of the treble, and the 4th one possible if they win La Liga as well, and then the UCL being the 4th trophy. Get the job done, solidify your spot in the final, and then focus on getting the rest of La Liga games done for the final game of the season is the UCL final. So a big game tomorrow. Quick discussion here, quick preview here about the teams, the team news, most importantly, because that was a whole big talking point about these 2 teams going into the second leg. But yes, hopefully Barca win. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video.